Master P.
I forgot. I forgot, bro.
Look, I saw it on Twitter, man. I seen people just, I'm going with X. I'm going with X.
Points. I knew that I was being affected when I couldn't sleep. It was like 2 or 3 nights in a row where I was up.
You need to have shows that, okay, she cool after all.
Right.
And
I absolutely deal with that. I even deal with it from women, I would say.
Yeah.
Men, women, or whatever. When I was just, earlier this year, I was a part of the training team.
So that's my thing. I feel like if I'm going to eat chicken, it shouldn't be mine. It should be somebody else's since they have it. So.
I mean, you get tired of eating your good own cooking sometimes.
I agree.
Sometimes an artist. Yeah. Sometimes an activist. Sometimes an educator. Sometimes a curator. It was like these divisions between
like the simple part of voting. Like this, we can't even go into what you just spoke on until we actually vote.
Yeah.
Don't say shit. They know what they got in that basket.
Get a little bit of water down there.
They know that a couple of.
Yeah. Real quick, am I looking at the camera?
No, you're doing your thing. Just make sure from time to time that you looking into the lens.
Okay.
But you just doing your thing, bro.
Gotcha.
You just doing your thing.
Yes, sir, Mr. Al Pete, aka Mr. Allen, aka Playboy Extraordinaire, aka Slim Good Black. All these names. Yes, sir. That is I. Mr. Peters' Neighborhood established March 1st, 2012. First actual warehouse party that I had. My own thing that I was doing. A lot of the work that I was doing back in the day was with other entities and other people, and those things faded. So everybody was, my core friends were saying that I should have my own stuff. So it's funny, I say it so loosely. I say it all the time, like, shouts out to MJ Baker and Centauria Thomas. And it was like, just call it Mr. Peters' Neighborhood or something. I don't know. And I'm like, I'm telling you, the way that it's stuck in my head for like a year prior to that. And I was like, wow, just the neighborhood part of it really stuck in my head. And the fact that somebody actually used my namesake and said, let's use this name for an actual brand or company or whatever the case may be. So doing events, all that stuff, fast forward to 2018. That's when I really was like, listen, we need a hub. We need more hubs around Jacksonville, Florida, and more so with the people that I work with. And I was like, we just got to have some landing spot. I feel like everybody is doing everything, and we're kind of scattered around doing this, that, and the third. And I'm like, we need to have a landing spot, like a landing spot for all of our work to be at, excuse me, so we can be able to, have a place, just to have a place so like the upper people can be like, okay, they have, this ground, this medium. So, everybody does the random talking and, it's the crab pot and da-da-da, like, out of 10 people in the crowd, if I'm in a crowd with 9 other people and it's 10 of us, I'm going to always be the one to try to like find the solution of whatever the case may be. So, I'm the one that's inquisitive. I'm like, well, let's do this, or let's try that, or let's begin this, or let's cease this. Like I'm that person when it comes to like everything that got going on. But that motorcycle passed by. So, yeah, I'm that guy, and that's been since I've been young. Since I was growing up with my family, with my friends, I've always was the one like, But what does it take to get from this point to that point? And I've always been the person at the beginning, the middle, and the end. And usually the person that goes through the whole process never really gets the glory, or never gets the appreciation for being throughout the whole process and seeing themselves through and seeing other people through. So that's one of those powers that I realized that I had in the same time of 2018, realizing like, Pete, you bring a lot of people together for a good cause or whatever. So in my mind, I was like, let me incorporate Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood to the MPN Network and be able to, you know, have more of a presence when it comes to all of that stuff. So, 2020. Well, tidbit information. 2019 is when I really bought the domain mpn-llc.com. Maybe like September, October of 2019 is when I bought it. And I was talking with my friend, my business partner, MJ Baker, and I was like, I just kept talking about doing a network and being like, look, we need to build this into a media company. And to go backwards, Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood had already been established as like basically me DJing. Like anything that I was partying, you know, where I was DJing, that if I put Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood, everybody knew what time it was. They came with it was precise. It was like this thing. It was like this mode that people knew what to come into, what to expect. And the more that I rolled this out between 2012 and 2018, I had already started incorporating some other small entities and stuff like that, i.e. the Groove Suite, i.e. Fly Socks and Tees. Because I wanted to set this presence and be, you know, and give this this thing to people. Like give like, you know, this place, a place where a safe place that people can be at and be like, hey, I can be able to express myself and still be accepted and have some form of integrity, but at the same time, like this really good form of inclusion. And I feel like that's one of my points that I want to point out on here. I got 3, but that's one of them, the inclusion part of it. The inclusion part, basically, just, you know, like it's a lot of people that are to a disadvantage, whether it comes to the society and the people that they're around, the thoughts that they have, and those things get excluded. So I want people to really feel comfortable when they come into this neighborhood. And a lot of these people have very great products. So I'm like, that's cool. We're you know, we rapping, we singing, we doing these parties at, you know, we having these big warehouse parties. But I really want to be able to pour into these people because I feel like at a certain period of time, I'll say 2015, 2016, I'm like, of course I would like to do more, but I think I've done a lot in Jacksonville, Florida. But I'm like, I need to be able to, you know, to put my people on, and I see the bigger picture when it comes to the society aspect of it and just how cultures run. So it was just, so I had to get to that point where I was like, all right, well, let me kind of step back a little bit and be able to give light and include a lot of people that don't really get the light that they're supposed to get. And I felt like, you know, Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood would be that, you know, that shot.
From your peers, from your jobs, but your thoughts are polished. Sit back and watch the good times roll. You deserve the credit. Being a star and the director can't be like Tetris. Just shifting blocks or whatever to make that straight line all forward to clear and give it another try. That's called growth and leveling up. In your 20s, you're crawling at 32. You got a big strut. Your interests and principles go from buying the fifth to buying your dream.
They're going to hear this as well, but tell what you think, and then we'll go back to the combo. You know what I'm saying? So basically, podcasting.
Oh yeah,
podcasting.
So how that created?
Yeah, how did it just come about? How did you know to reach out to Hendrix? How did you want to reach out to Adriana, to do Slunch, Chief Rocker? You know, everybody who's involved. Like, you know, just the formation of everything.
Yeah.
You know, stop being so cool too, man. Being real cool doing this video. Everybody not able to do that. So I must say, congratulations, man.
Don't be cool.
No, man, I'm just saying you're a cool guy, man. I'm like, wow, this dude just managed how to be cool.
I appreciate it, man. So in the midst of creating the other sub-brands in Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood, like the Groove Suite, Fly Socks and Tees, Cubicle Music Mondays, it was, I mean, I had the podcast thing going on, but the podcast action really was just the Groove Suite. And then I spawned off Clear Vision second, but the Groove Suite podcast was like the flagship of me getting into the podcast world. And And I tell y'all, I did not want to get into podcasting. I did not. I was like, I just want to be a listener of it. Just listen to it, enjoy it, be a consumer. Because I felt like I was wearing a lot of hats anyway. And I was like, I just don't want to adopt anything else into my, my movement on things. So got into it. Groups was fine. For a whole year, I studied podcasting and just the way, how podcasts are supposed to be ran. And it was like this Wild Wild West action about it, which still is. It's still a Wild Wild West action about it. It's a little bit more formalities now. And I'm cool with that because I've always been on the admin side of things. So I always understood the zeros and ones and the straight and narrow aspect of like just life in general, how things are supposed to be ran. But the fact that I was able to say, oh, well, I can use this for like visual storytelling, audio storytelling, and incorporate that into like media, which I love. And I say there's two things: music and media. That's my two main things. I just love how I'm big on that, very big on that. So I'm like, I can use this as another outlet, like, blogging and how blogging is and how radio stations is and news is. I can do podcasting and do that. All right, cool. So I got more serious with that. And in the midst of that, me and Hendrix, shouts out to Hendrix Monet, we talked, still talk to this day. And we just talked about ideas about how podcasting is supposed to be, like what it's supposed to spawn off to, all these things that we talked about. And, I just wanted to help her as much as possible with her podcast, as well as, be able to help myself. But then, shouts out to Adriana Sequel. She, real quick story, she was supposed to record somewhere, and the studio fell through on her. And I immediately was like, oh, well, we can just record at my spot. That was my first time I ever, here. And I just was like, you can just come record here because I record everything here myself. And that was didn't even realize that was the door that opened up everything in regards to MPN, like the MPN Network. Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood is always here, but like the MPN Network, didn't even realize that I was offering a service that quick. But I've always prided myself to make sure that I try to be as ready as possible with a lot of things, with like everything. Like I try to stay on point with everything in my life. Like some things is just it can't happen. You can't control it. I understand that, but man, I'd be damned if you know what I'm saying, 90% of my life I'm just like prepared for it. Like if I can have a solution for everything, I don't care if it's manufacturing type stuff or just mental, you know what I'm saying? Like I try to stay on that as much as possible. So when it came to Adriana coming in and recording or whatever, it kind of just went from there. And then Chief Rocker, stepped to me and wanted wanted my assistance on helping him. And I'm like, well, okay, cool. If I'm doing that, then I could just stick with these three, which is Hendrix, Chief Rocker, and Adriana. And I was like, well, we can just go into it like this. But I really blame Chief Rocker a little bit, because Chief Rocker was like, man, start a network. And I thought about it a little bit, but I wasn't like really pressed for it. I was like, if I started, I would like to have these people. One of the people was Reduced Lunch. I was like, if I ever get into this, Reduced Lunch got to be on the team. And the people spoke, man, and they were just like, yeah, Pete, if you was because some people was like playing with it, but they wasn't like really indulged in it. They wasn't really like making the efforts to like make it happen. So, and I remember Adriana said, well, if somebody's going to do the flagship of a podcast network, a black podcast network, like you would be the person to do it. And I heard that from Adriana, and I heard that from a lot of like very important peers, like even like some OG status ass people, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, so I'm getting this across the board. So, and I looked at it from the person that might have known me for a couple of months to the person that known me since I was growing up. I was getting that. So I just didn't just jump into it on some like, this is cute, let me do it. I was like, so here I go again, offering a service and offering like pleasure to, well, not even pleasure, I'm offering a solution. I'm offering like a solution to the problem, and I noticed the void. I just had to notice a lot of things about myself, and like I said, I've never been more in a position where I was able to like really express myself and be able to understand how things work, with my own voice. So by that time, I had already, 2018ish. I'm like, all right, I know fully who I am, and even if I do any type of growing, it's gonna be a growth. It's gonna be a good growth. It's not gonna be like, oh, I need to like go to zero, point zero and figure this thing out. No, I felt like I've got a little bit of life in me to where I can understand some things. So, for me to just jump into that and realizing that it was this void and this, a void in the culture that we in, it wasn't nothing for me to jump back into it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, with Groove Sweet, Fly Sauce Teas, I built those up. So it was nothing for me to build the podcast network up. And that's how that happened. And then after that, got Reduced Lunch, and I just started like really paying attention to a lot of podcast people that I was associated with. I really enjoy the White Show. The White Show is, I feel like that's a really reflective of like how I think of things, like, very introspective. Let's see, who else? Flowers for the Culture podcast. Shouts out to Riri. I really love her, what she does, and I love the appreciation that she gives for people in general, for black people. Definitely when it comes to black males, I really feel like she gives a lot of like energy towards us. Like she really gives us our crowns to walk in, and gives us that space. And I'm about that too. Shit Talk No Fragrance is a given. Definitely love the female version of entertainment and just smack talking. You know what I'm saying? A woman being, kind of standing in her place and like, look, this what the business is. This what you gonna get. I thoroughly enjoy her. People like 21st Men, Strong Friend Check-In. We definitely need mental aspects of, conversation. I do feel like a lot of us don't have these conversations at the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, so a lot of black people don't even like sit at the table to eat dinner with their family. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these conversations is just strictly sports and entertainment. But it's, we got to have these conversations, mental conversations, political conversations. Like, we got to have these things because there are stories within it that, people need to be heard and people need to get a lot of this energy out. So you got people like 21st Men, Strong Friend Check-In, that mental part of it. Reduced Lunch. You break down Reduced Lunch. Reduced Lunch is definitely an entertainment aspect. To me, it's brotherhood. It's the therapy. It's my therapy. Like, it's like Sunday service. We come in here and we really like lean on each other and we really, hold each other accountable. And I love the brotherhood of Reduced Lunch. I love their introspectives, the introspective, a lot of the things going on in the world, and it's good to get opinions from them three brothers. And then you break down Reduced Lunch, you got Reduced Lunch Sports. So of course that's the ESPN of MPN Network. I definitely pride on that. Shouts out to D and Nate on that, man. I just really see the passion that they have when it comes to giving the sports, you know what I'm saying, and giving it from their perspectives, and having the actual facts to even talk to you guys about it. So you got Reduced Lunch Sports, you got Sex with the Lights On. That's our Cinemax action, you know what I'm saying? Like the Cinemax action. Listen, I mean that's kind of self-explanatory. We ain't got to get onto that, but yeah, Sex with the Lights On. Mature audiences only. But we grown around here, man. But we got all of these podcast networks, and everybody. It's the neighborhood. Like, you have the neighborhood. You have different houses. You have different. Look at it as a subdivision. Everybody's house is different. Like, everybody has their own sprinkle of character in it. But at the end of the day, it all exists. Everybody exists in this one this one like ground of things that we got. The neighborhood part, man. I just really pride on that stupid hard. And I just look at it from that mindset. I look at my neighbors and I'm like that, my neighbor over here, they crazy, you know what I'm saying? Or my neighbor over here, they sweet, they got a bunch of plants. But it's like, at the end of the day, we all on that street, and we all like respect the street. We respect the outer world of it. So that's how the podcast network is, and even just MPN as a whole. So where I would like to see MPN go, the MPN Network, Miss Peterson's Neighborhood, I want to be a source for all things considering, in newsworthy things. I need to have a seat at the table, basically. Me have a seat at the table. We've created our own table, and I'm appreciative of that. Like, I'm thankful that I taught myself how to record my music. I taught myself how to record a podcast. I taught myself how to DJ. Like, granted, I was influenced by a lot of other people, and I was just look at, when I was in the studio, recording, my music, I would look at them working on Pro Tools. And it just dawned on me, like, I can't get into the studio like how I want to. Okay, cool. Let me buy my own equipment. Let me teach myself. Let me do this, that, and the third. I did that. DJing, did my research, bought my equipment, learned how to book shows, this, that, and the third. Cool. Podcasting, learn how to buy great mics, learn how to buy, being able to buy the domain and really like understanding what an RSS feed is. Like, I did that. So with all this information, I'm like, okay, let me pour this into my people. I feel like I'm at the, matter of fact, not even feel like, I know I'm at that point where I've given the resources and I'm willing to give more and more and more to my people. But for us to be able to enhance and get to a point where we can be, we can simply live off this, we need to be able to go and like really like let people know like what we stand for, and they need to see the product in a more distinctive way. Like, they need to understand, like, listen, when it's breaking news, like, if something happens on Saturday, I need this person, that person to be on it within 24 hours and have something out. And I want to be able to show that type of work ethic, because when we go to these other sectors and these other avenues and stuff like that, it's straightforward down the line. And I want people to understand that part too. So, when it comes to digital marketing, and when we, understanding what the SEOs are, and really understanding that within all of that, even just having the integrity to move forward, like having, like really setting like a moral aspect of us when we come to the creative side and to the admin side. We need to have this form of integrity that, that's undeniable, and that people will want to come in and really bring the work to us. And that's why I see MPN at. I see it. We've done it. We've done it over and over again. I mean, during the pandemic, we consistently put out information. We consistently put out content. Like, we consistently like made a presence. We were consistently loud. We were consistently like successful with that. So the only point, the only part right here is really just take it to the next level on it, man. And the next level looks like being able to go into the communities and being able to like give a voice to these people that don't have a voice, and us being effectively with it. Like, that's the admin part about it, being really efficient, really being intentional. That's one word I'm going into for the next 5 years. I think the word intention had just really stuck in my head, and I really want to pride off that, just being intentional with it. And shouts out to my man D for even like being one of the people to say, that word intentional, what I'm saying, just really sticking in my head when we talk about intentional. So I really want to be intentional with the information that we get, and I really want to be a great service to like my community, to my culture, to my city, to my state, to my black people, to everybody, just humanity in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really want MPN to be that stamp, be one of the elite stamps for when anybody have information, or anybody got some education, or any political thing that we need to talk about, or if we want to let down our hair and really talk about like adult entertainment, whatever the case may be. I want MPN to be precise and just be visionary, but at the same time too, like really be business minded when it comes to it. When we're stepping into this media world, and when we're in the media world, we're going to be touching a lot of other factors. We're going to be in the health world. We're going to excuse me. We're going to be in the health world. We're going to be in the music world. We're going to be in film and radio, science. You know what I'm saying? History, all of that stuff. Like we're going to be in all these sectors, but in the at the end of it, we need to be very intentional and very precise with what we got going on. That's why I see MPN at. I definitely see MPN on that mode.
They don't have a Kawhi or LeBron James or Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
They do it by committee. They just don't have that one guy they can go to.
Mm-hmm.
And the Boston
Black Lives Matter and just Black Lives Mattering, right? Like without even the slogan. That's been a consistent slogan, regardless of how we've said it throughout the.
You guys, it's like if they can do it, so can I.
We can too.
Because there's so many times where
if there's room for everybody, fuck it.
Then I might as well go for mine.
But you know what? That comes back also.
Gonna make it look good. Hey, you drink up all my liquor. Come on, what I'm supposed to do now? You talk, get all that shit. Come on.
Yeah, what do you enjoy? What do you enjoy? What gives Al Pete a jolt of energy and say, yeah, let's get it going. I'm ready. I'm hyped. Yeah. My boy a little lost.
No, I know what I'm saying. I'm just thinking. I'm just like, yeah. We good?
Yeah.
Okay.
All this going on
there. Well, I mean, just definitely the. I'm real big on humanity, man. I'm real big on humanity, and when we can come into a space and at the end of the day, everybody has respect for each other. Everybody want to see everybody win. People want to be a part of stuff, regardless. People want to be a part of stuff. I don't care the person that's alone and don't want to talk to nobody or whatever. Like people want to be a part of something. So when I get around, the people that are a part of MPN Network or the people that support it, they love it, man. And it's just cool to see people light up when they when they see the MPN sign, when they see the Miss Peterson's neighborhood. It's funny because in the office, people, they walk by the sign, the Miss Peterson's neighborhood. Even the sign outside, when they see it, they like, man, you official. Like they like, oh, whoa, we about to when they come in, it's like this sense of like, listen, let's work. You know what I'm saying? Or a sense of like pride. They're like, man, we in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when you say the neighborhood, when you use that the THE part, it's like it's more heavier than the neighborhood, if that makes sense to any of y'all out there. But the THE part is like, it's not like they're saying the neighborhood, but they're saying the neighborhood. And when you say the neighborhood, it's like game time. Like it's like the announcers are calling your name on the court. And everybody is, you got the audience, you got the stadium music and all that, and you got the people like cheering for you. You got your teammates, and you got your coaches. You got, everything gonna be there. Like when you go on that court, you know that the water gonna be there when you get off the court to recharge you, and you know that people gonna be supporting you. And I just love to see that when when people come in here, and when we do any type of work. The inclusion part, you got to put like. I love the inclusion part because I remember I was not in that space, not in that space as much as I would love to be, but for me to be able to create this platform and people really like be proud to say, you know what I'm saying, man, we on MPN Network or we working with MPN, like that's an immediate satisfaction. You know what I'm saying? Like that opens up a lot for me. Like that gets me like happy, and it gets me more so comfortable because, when you're dealing with technology and you're dealing with the way that the world is right now, people can just give up quick. You know what I'm saying? So for people to really stick around and be like, man, we rocking with Pete. Like Pete got us. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of that, man. I don't want to let my people down.